for publicity. If you do not want to be recorded and seen on screen, then you need to turn your video off. With that said, it's always better to have your video on, because unlike a brick and mortar club, we can't see everybody in the room, only when our videos are on. With that said, I would also like to say if anybody has anything to do that either could be disruptive or not paying attention to the meeting, if you're driving, walking, cooking, anything like that, then just turn off your video, because that could be distracting to the speakers. And with that said, at the bottom of our screen, one last thing, when you're looking at your screen, there's a mute and a stop video button. And if you have to do either, you just click on it. And with that, I will turn our meeting over to Samir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. And with that, I want to congratulate Teresa, first time Sergeant at Arms host for our club. And with that, I'll hand over to our president, Oladele.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Fellow Toastmasters and our guests, welcome to Firebirds Collectives. Firebirds Collective, we are a multi-generational, multinational, and multicultural global advanced online Toastmasters club. We meet every Sunday of the month. Our meetings are always informative, instructive, and inspiring. And I can assure you that today's meeting will not be an exception. The theme for the new month, the month of November, which is the 11th month in the year, but just the 5th month in the Toastmasters year, is visible. Visible. And the theme for today's meeting is lessons learned on the way. Our role players are ready. Our speakers today are ready, and you, our guests, we're lucky to have you join us for today. So let us get the ball rolling as we get enlightened, exhilarated, and edutained. For every Toastmasters meeting, we have what you will call at a regular event, the Master of Ceremonies. And today is the Toastmaster of the Day. The Toastmasters for today, the Toastmaster of the Day for today is a gentleman who joined Toastmasters on the 1st of June, 2012. However, he joined Firebirds Collective on the 1st of April, 2016. He's a very charismatic gentleman who is passionate about personal and professional development. He has served in different capacities at Toastmasters, and he has risen to the peak of the attainable achievement at Toastmasters as a distinguished Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and our guests, please welcome the charismatic Samir Malak.
Thank you for that great greeting, Mr. President. Hello, fellow Firebirds, friends, and family. It is my honor to be returning to the screen as your Toastmaster of the meeting today. We've got an action-packed meeting lined up for you, and we've got a really challenging theme as well. As your Toastmaster of the meeting, I'll be trying to incorporate that theme, lessons learned the hard way, throughout the meeting as best I can. This could be a hard lesson for me. It might be an easy one. However it turns out, I hope it's an enjoyable experience for you. Our founder, Ralph Smedley, designed clubs to be a place where members would encourage and support each other in the development of their communication and leadership skills, and we're going to come together to do that. I'm not doing this alone. There is a team involved here. I think I said earlier in the pre-meeting, teamwork makes the dream work, quoting one of my favorites. And I want to introduce you to that team. Are you ready? Are you ready? You can wave your hands or you can clap them. Yes, okay, we are ready. Let's start with our grammarian to introduce her role. Welcome to the screen, Jeannie Johnston.
Right, thank you, Samir. I thought you were going to start with the timer, so I wasn't quite ready, but that's okay. Yes, my word for the day is the only word I thought would suit the theme, and I will share my screen. And the word is experience, because that's what we are learning before our estates. We learn from experience. And that, I hope you will remember that. I thought it's a word that actually should be used quite a bit today if people are talking about how they learn from their mistakes and their experiences. So I will also be listening for some words that are descriptive, that are pretty and tell me what paint a lovely picture. And also, if I find any really bad grammatical errors, I will point them out, but I don't think I'll be finding many of those. But I'd like to hear, I'm looking forward to hearing all about everybody's experience today. Thank you. Back to you, Samir.
Thank you, Jeannie. We're going to put our experiences together and rally together for an awesome meeting. Now, coming to us next with no experience in the role of video monitor, but taking it up, stepping up to fill up the space, I'd like to ask Willie Loh from Singapore to tell us about what he's going to look for in his AuCounter video monitor report at the end of the meeting. Willie, you've got the screen. Unmute your mic and tell us what you're going to look for.
I am looking for a pause filler. Like so, but and.
Thank you. Is that it, Willie, or more?
Yes, that's all.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Willie. Stepping up, growing experience. There's a question there from Lorraine, is there?
So just a clarification, Willie, as the general evaluator, I'll also be watching that you're going to share about the video monitor. So you're looking at how we're looking on screen, what our backdrop is like, that kind of thing. I realize it's, I'm not sure if you've taken the role before, so is that okay with you?
no, it's something new.
Would you like to try? So what you're doing is giving your impression of how people look on the screen. So for example, if a speaker is speaking, are they doing a good job? Are they making eye contact? Or would you like to hand that part of your role over to somebody else?
I'm okay with that.
Thank you. Fantastic.
That's right.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, Willie. I'll look forward to your report, Willie, at the end of the meeting. Lorraine, obviously an experienced Toastmaster and general evaluator, stepping in to make sure that the member is ready to fulfill the role first time in. This is how we grow, folks. Lessons learned the easy way in Toastmasters, not the hard way out in the real world in the big room. Who do we have next? Oh, wait, we've got to stay on time. Who's going to help us to keep on time? Please welcome to the screen with the timers to talk about the timers role, Belinda Kent.
Good morning, fellow Firebirds, and I'm so happy to be back. My role today as timer is to keep us on time. With that, I'm going to show the green card when you're at your minimum time, the yellow card when you're midway through, and the red card when you should be wrapping up. And at the end, I will come back and give you a report. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Belinda. Now, our meeting's divided into two parts. Primarily, we're going to start out with speeches, then we go into speech evaluations, and then a lot of fun that you're going to see in the next part. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great experience for everybody. Now, I mentioned Ralph Smedley earlier, and I'm thinking about lessons learned the hard way. One of the lessons I learned at Toastmasters the hard way, well, I don't know if it was so much the hard way, but I used to get so frustrated when, the meetings didn't happen to plan, and people always seemed to have to come in and cover for somebody else. But it was many years later that I realized when I was smoothly handling things at work when they didn't go to plan, that he was so clever. He taught us leadership in a way that's engineered so that meetings don't happen. You develop your leadership skills the easy way at Toastmasters because things don't go to plan and you got to figure out how to keep the meeting going so everybody can grow and learn. So if you ever get frustrated because you got to find another role player, don't. You're learning the easy way at Toastmasters. Let's go for speeches because it's also about communication and growing with speeches. There's a hand up.
Yep. Could I just do a quick clarification? Harvey, the agenda says that your speech is 3 to 4 minutes. Is that correct? What should it be?
It's 5 to 7.
5 to 7. Great. Thank you so much.
Let's talk some more about Harvey's speech. He's doing a speech from Deliver Social Speeches, Present a Social Speech. And this is no easy topic. He's going to provide information on Alzheimer's. Is going to help us to grow in our knowledge around that. I have more to say, but I do not want to get in the way. And I want to introduce with a speech entitled, wait, I do have the title. The Silent Killer Among Us. The Silent Killer Among Us, Harvey Drudel.
Oladelia is going to introduce the project.
Well, that's a hard lesson for me to learn.
Mr.
Oladelia,
Toastmaster,
can
do I have your
introduce
permission?
the project objectives, please?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Harvey today will be speaking from the Presentation Mastery Project, or path, I mean to say, level 3 under persuasive speaking, and is to focus on the positive. He'll be using the storytelling strategy to share about part of his life and a lesson that we need to be aware of at a strategic stage of our life. He has 5 to 7 minutes to inspire his audience. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Oladele. With a speech entitled The Silent Killer Among Us, please welcome to the screen, Harvey Drudel.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters in the world. This is a subject that I lived with for a number of years. And I want you to know that it is preventable. And I want to give you some ideas today on how you can do that. First of all, I want you to have a look at this. Now, I don't have it on my computer, so you have to see the printed picture that I have of a healthy brain and an Alzheimer's brain. If you have an Alzheimer's brain, you've got gaps between the synapses and your brain does not communicate. You ever had the experience of, like the other day I headed for my room to go and pick up something, and I get to the room and I'm scratching my head saying, no, what am I here for? What was I going to get? Or I'm working in my garden and I have my tools out there and I need my little shovel and I don't know where it is, but it was right there. Those little warnings that you get that there's something wrong up here in the brain. And you need to do something about it. And people look and say, well, what can I do? You know, that's what it is. You're getting older, you're this, that, or the other. I said, no. The fact is that the food that you put in your body, and the food and the drink, is what is going to determine how your brain functions. Research projects have proven that if you have a certain diet, and it's not a reduction diet or anything. It's the kind of food that you eat. It can positively or negatively affect your functioning brain. And you can influence it. Yes, you can. And you need to realize that this is in your power. You're not going to get any help from the pharmaceutical industry, certainly, because if you can do this yourself, you don't need any of the pharmacy's offerings. Or the food industry. I mean, the food industry is there to get you to eat the food. All the food. And if you take a look at what's offered out there and what you're eating, think, well, what could I do? Take a look. I think the greatest thing that you can do is eating pure food. We have so much to fight with our environment that's automatically hurting us, that we think that there was nothing that we can do about it. But there is. You need to research Alzheimer's in your area. Get online and see what's offered. If there's an Alzheimer's society in your area, you will have a plethora of information. There's no possible way that you can go through it all. It's just unbelievable. The research that's being done, that has been done, that has proved that you can affect the brain. So what are you willing to do? When you can't find your car keys, you know you have them right here somewhere, but you can't find them. Or you turn around and you think, oh, what is it that I'm doing here now? What do I want? You're getting little signals. You're getting little warnings. You need to do something about it. So get on and research. On YouTube, there are experts, like absolutely the best in the world, that have been researching and have information there for us to help us out. I think the most recent one that I've met on YouTube is Dr. William Li, L-I. And I got his book. It says, Eat to Beat Disease. Can you imagine that you could do that? Well, this man is a world expert, world renowned, and is definitely someone that you need to research and find out what he offers to help us. I got this book and I thought, holy smoke, I'm looking for something simple. Well, it isn't simple. You need to put some time in on it. You need to research for yourself exactly what it is that is going to help you. I've been working on it, and I think I'm making some progress. But the fact will be when we see what 5 years from now or 10 years from now, how my brain is going to be functioning then. But it better be functioning. So I encourage you to do your research and find out, because it's in your power to help yourself with your health, particularly your brain health. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Harvey Drudel. This kind of stirring message, I take to heart. A friend of mine has also learned this lesson the hard way and is doing similar research into not just how food can transform it, but also understanding our genetics code and what kind of markers are in there. So I take to heart your message, Harvey, and I think we all should to get a better understanding so that we can have a great experience and health span, not just an extended lifespan. Thank you, Harvey.
Well, that
I'd
is
like
the last thing you want to have happen to you is having every memory you ever had, it disappears. Oh, don't want that.
Thanks again, Harvey. Our next speaker is going to be evaluated by Suzanne Barrett, and I'd like to invite Suzanne to the screen to provide us with the project and speech objectives. Please welcome Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you, Samir. So Tina tonight is going to give us a speech called Togetherness, and it's all about mentoring. So she is going to give us some information or maybe a story, I'm not sure, but the purpose of her speech is that she shares some aspect of a previous experience, and I'm sure she does have a lot of experience as a protege. So we have some understanding of Toastmasters mentoring in her speech. And it can be any time, in her life, maybe outside of the Toastmaster experience. It doesn't have to be limited to Toastmasters, but if it does, then because it's quite what's the word? The speech should not be a report on the content of an introduction to Toastmasters mentoring project, is what it says in the objectives. And also Tina tonight wants to be evaluated about the use of screen and eye contact. So back to you, Samir.
Thank you, Suzanne. As Tina comes to the screen, she's bringing together and going to share with us lessons learned through community and how community can make the difference with a speech entitled Togetherness. Please welcome to the screen, Tina Norbury.
Sometimes reaching out and taking someone's hand is the beginning of a journey. At other times, it's allowing someone to take yours. That's a quote from Vera Nazarian. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Firebirds, and guests. The 22nd of January, 1996 was a special day when I started my journey as a protege. Why do I call it special? It is special because of two things. One, because my mentor was my wonderful mother. The second one is that not only did I learn from her experience, but I also managed to teach her one or two things. My mother brought to the table a wealth of experience wrapped in wisdom and also love. What my mother didn't know, or what she didn't have, was the experience of looking after a premature baby. I mentioned to you the 22nd of January 1996. I gave birth to a premature baby. My son weighed 1.7 kgs or kilograms. He was very tiny, a tiny weeny baby. I was scared to even hold. I looked at him and cried because I didn't think he was going to survive. I will tell you now, fellow Firebirds, if it wasn't for my mother holding my hand, strengthening me, and wiping my tears, I wouldn't have survived. Throughout this journey, my mother had children. She knew all about children. She knew how to feed a child. She knew the different signs of responding to a child, but she had never had a premature baby. How best were we going to walk this journey together? My mother brought practical experience. I brought book or textbook knowledge. I found anything and everything that came my way through reading about premature babies. I wanted to know, mainly because I didn't want to make a mistake. I didn't want anything to go wrong. I wanted to ensure I did everything right. My mother would, throughout the journey, ask me questions such as, why do you want to do what you want? What is it that you want to do? How do you intend to do it? And what is your expected outcome of what you want to do before you touch that baby? For example, if I said, I wanted to feed my baby, she will say, how many milliliters do you intend to feed him? How long do you intend to feed him? And how soon do you think you can put him back in an incubator? Have you asked the doctors what you are allowed and not allowed to do? We walked throughout this journey for about 6 weeks in the hospital until such time that we went out of the hospital. My son had gained enough weight to be allowed for me to take him home. It was an experience I can never really explain to anyone. I can only try and explain, but it was a very emotional experience. The experience taught me that not only do I have to listen, but also that I should value the priceless experience of bringing my understanding of the situation. What did I understand about the situation? Not a lot, but I acquired the knowledge through reading textbooks, asking doctors, what is it that is expected? What is the next outcome? And I walked this journey with confidence because my mentor always kept on reflecting things back to me. She taught me her experience with love. She taught me, oh, well, not just, there was tough love there because, for example, there is a time when I felt that she was taking over my child. This is not your child. Hang on, can I do this? You've never had a premature baby and this is my child. You mothered me, you let me mother this child. But I didn't know much about babies. So we did have our differences, but we moved forward with those differences. And what we learned together, and may her soul rest in peace, is that not only does the more experienced person learn, but also the new person or the protege learns, brings something new that will be learned together. I enjoyed the journey. And what is it that I can bring or tell any protege who will be walking any journey, really, not just of having premature babies? My one advice or my one my one advice or my one thing that I would want to pass to a protege is learn, watch, and remember that the little you understand matters to your mentor. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Tina. We have the advantage of sharing from your experience and learning and growing through it. Stirring and incredibly inspiring that you would be able to take the experience of others, focus those questions, and grow and be successful in such a challenging situation. And that we as Toastmasters together can learn from that. I don't think anyone was expecting to come here today and be exposed to these types of experiences and learn from them and grow. Thank you for your sharing. Next, what do we have next? If you look around, switch to gallery view and see. You can see just about everyone, but there is an invisible participant here, a ghost who is going to provide the educational. Well, maybe they'll provide you an educational. Maybe they won't. You see, here's the lesson learned the hard way. Oh, what's this? Julie's put up her hand. Yes, Julie. You'll have to come off mute. You put it. Was that Julie? No? Okay, maybe I didn't see it. So it's after Halloween. We're well into November. There is a ghost in that no one signed up to provide an educational. Well, I'm your reserve speaker, and I'm going to provide a mini educational for you. Now, this is Firebirds, right? We're an online advanced club. We had members here doing pathways and learning about pathways and talking about pathways before pathways came to many of our districts, even to the undistricted. But you know what I still see? I still see clubs struggling with pathways. So as your ghost today, I'd like to share with you some of the lessons learned the hard way with the adoption of pathways. So with the adoption, we had 2 years, or are still having 2 years, of focus on the traditional education program. And what has happened is that many of the people in leadership positions going from the club up through the district are focused on getting their traditional educational awards. What this means is most of our leadership are leading from the unknown. They have members who have to adopt pathways, but they themselves do not know anything about pathways. I have encouraged what leaders I encounter to adopt, to try. And I'm encouraged by the lesson from Ralph C. Smedley that maybe it's not his lesson, but the quote is, no plan survives contact with reality. So what's happened? We've got new members coming in who are trying to do pathways, being led by people who don't know how pathways works. Well, let me give you some tips. Those new members get an email instructing them to try out the Navigator. Go try out the Navigator. Understand what they're being told about Toastmasters, because chances are they're then looking at you and your club to see if you're doing that. So know the message that they're getting. Now, when someone tries out a path, they may have a purpose for that path, or they may not. When they do their icebreaker, encourage in your clubs a culture of sharing the reason that path has been selected. Share why you're taking that path. And it could be, I don't know why I selected dynamic leadership, but I'm going to give it a go. Or it could be, I chose dynamic leadership because I want to have an impact on my community. And here are 3 things that I want to do out of that. What happens then is that your community will then bring their experience to bear in lifting up that member, in putting that pathway into practice and getting the most learning out of it. Give them the 1-page handout. Search on the Toastmasters.org, right? Search for Path and Core, and you'll get a 1-pager with every level and what are the things there. Give them when they've selected their path and say, hey, you can use this as a map to chart your journey. My 3rd tip from the ghost, the invisible educational. My 3rd tip is a rare resource that will be your test as to whether or not they're actually doing the path for. or as the VP of Education, or as just as a fellow Toastmaster and say, I'm doing the active listening project, but I can't see which speech I should select. Have you downloaded the project checklist and tried this out? It will give you some clear directions on what to do for this project. And you may find that active listening is not a speech, but actually being the table topics master. So get out there, lead from the front, get some experience, and you'll be able to create a culture of learning and learning lessons the easy way rather than the hard way. Mr. Toastmaster. Oh, that's me. Thank you so much. I hope you got at least a kernel of some sort of learning there that you can take out to your communities and share that experience with them. And together we can continue to grow. What's next? One of my favorites, and I'm hoping I've given some time back so we can do some more table topics. Our table topics master is our very own Vice President of Education, Marty Ogborn. Please, Marty, come off mute and share with us what we're going to be talking about today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. We do have a challenging subject today. Lessons learned the hard way. Well, there's a lot of ways we can learn lessons, and I agree with our esteemed Toastmaster. Together in Toastmasters, we can learn things a little bit easier than doing them by ourselves. So first and foremost, what are some lessons? Let's ask some of our members and guests that are not in a speaking role to help us out a little bit. I know, Lorraine, you're doing the general evaluator position. And Ken, I know sometimes you have trouble with the audio. Could you take this table topic question and tell us what you have learned and whether you learned it in your mind the hard way or the easy way? Ken.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. Sorry, Lorraine, you have something?
Oh, I was just going to say, I believe Ken is the table topics evaluator.
Well, we moved Willie. Oh, I beg your pardon. Okay.
I might have just saved you there, Ken.
Saved by the bell.
Willie was moved into the position of audio counter. Okay, I beg your pardon. Well, you know what? We're going to consider this a freebie, and you won't have to evaluate yourself because it sounded like you were ready to go. So this will be one of your table topics you won't have to evaluate.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. So the question is, what have I learned the hard way?
Or, you know, what have you learned, and did you learn it the hard way or the easy way? Thank you, Ken.
I'll throw it out. When I joined Toastmasters February 2013, I had a gentleman assigned to me as my mentor. And I thought, mentor, that's good. I'm going to get someone who would sit me down and give me the formal educational on how to be a good Toastmaster. So I sat there, the first day passed, no phone call, no email. It turned to a week, became a month, and became a year. And now we are in 2019. I'm still waiting for that phone call or that email from my assigned mentor. And over the years, we got interacting, and he said to me that when I joined Toastmasters, he thought to give me a little test to see how proactive I would be. That there he was waiting for me to reach out and tell him my goals for joining Toastmasters and how I wanted to work. On the other hand, I was waiting for him, being experienced Toastmaster, to reach out to me to tell me all the wonderful things about the new wonderful organization I had just joined. So the lesson there was, if you really desire something and there are practical things you could do, take the first step, take the second step. So reach out to get what you want and not sit back expecting everything would come to you on a plate. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate you taking that question, and I also appreciate the role you'll be filling later in the session that gives us feedback about our skills as communicators. So my next question has to do with our health. And we heard from our first speaker that we can be proactive. And it is also an appropriate time to recognize one of our founding club members. Julie, would you like to tell us about what you've learned in the area of health and how you have come to this point and what your plans are to continue in good health in the future? May I ask you to speak to us, Julie, about that subject? Please help me welcome Julie.
A few weeks ago, I learned a news which didn't make me happy. Suddenly, I learned I have diabetes too. I did not even hear before what it is. And then I learned that it's something to stay with me all my life. And it's inherited from someone who knows whom. But it says if you have a genetics, diabetes, it means that you didn't choose well your ancestors. But I liked my ancestors. And of course, I was shocked very much at the beginning that I will have to take medicine every day of my life, with every meal, every big meal, at least 3 times a day. And then I begin to see an advantage. I decided I can use it for a new blog project. And I opened a new blog, which is called Diabetes 2. And I am going now at level 4 of IP. And I am at 16 or 17 posts already. And I need one of you to read it and make me evaluation of my blog. I write now every day a blog, and I learn every day something new. And Diabetes 2 Experience is now my new blog. So you can use it for many things, but it comes. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, that tells us so much about you, Julie, and it tells us so much about Toastmasters. We tend to look at the situation and make the very best of it. And if we make those choices, it sets us up for a lot of success. So maybe there's something in your past, and I'll ask this question of Heinrich. Heinrich, is there something in your past that seemed like it was taking you in the wrong direction, but lo and behold, this hard lesson brought you to something remarkable? Heinrich, would you tell us what in your life has taken you from one direction into a totally unexpected place? Please help me welcome Heinrich Jacobson.
Mr. Toastmasters, members, honored guests. Well, that was a little interesting question, but I don't know if you got in a good way, but once upon a time, I was very, very poor. I had more debts than income, and I decided I've decided I was out of work, and I said to myself, at the 1st of October 2006, I should have a girlfriend, I should be a politician, I should have a job. I put those things. And I think, what should I do? So I began to drive taxi and read the theory and read every day and do tests every day. And I fight for a job. And of course I got my girlfriend sooner or later. But then it was the 28th of September 2006. I had a girlfriend, I had a job, but where was my political influence? I was so angry. I was so angry that I failed my goal. I failed my goal. And nothing can happen anymore. I give up this. This is the truth. On the 29th, I got a letter from the government that I was a replacement in the regional parliament from 2006 to 2010. And I was so happy that I finally made one goal in my life. And that changed a lot of things in my life. Mr. Toastmaster, thank you very much.
Wow, what an interesting story. What an interesting story. On our agenda, it does list that the table topics are to be asked to 3 people, and I have done that. I will check with our Toastmaster and ask where we stand as far as time, and should I defer to you now at this point, Mr. Toastmaster?
I'll take that up now because we're a minute into the evaluations.
Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our Toastmaster of the day, Samir.
Thank you, Marty. Impromptu speaking is where we get experience and put experience into practice. It's so good to be the Toastmaster because you can use the word of the day all the time. So more people should sign up to be Toastmaster of the meeting. I want to see it. I want to see you all jumping forward to do that. Let's go ahead and move on to our evaluation segment. Our first evaluator, evaluating our first speaker, Harvey, is our very own president, Oladele. Please welcome to the screen, Oladele.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and our guest, Harvey. Where is Harvey? Okay. Harvey, thank you for your speech. Because I'm privileged to have a background knowledge of this speech, I must appreciate your courage in sharing this with us, because I know it is an issue that touches a very sensitive aspect of your life. I must commend the way you began your speech by framing us. You gave us the outline, the things you will cover. I thought that was well done. I must commend the way you conveyed the meaning of your words with your facial expression. When you talked about walking into a room and forgetting what you're looking for, in fact, you added an icing on the cake by giving us some scratching of the head with your hand. And I thought that was a relatable scenario for anyone who has ever sauntered into a room or a space to look for something and suddenly they couldn't remember. Possibly until they pop out of that space again and then they come back again and they suddenly pick up, oh yes, I wanted to pick my car keys or I wanted to pick my credit card or whatever it is. Complementary vocal variety. I love the facts you began to give us, how food could be a remedy to this challenge of memory loss, brain challenge, and all that. I would like to suggest to you, you used a picture which you raised to the screen, but the details of the picture was not clear to us at home. I thought that in a presentation like this, having a slide to portray that picture would have been more effective. You talked about the fact that food could be remedied. I was expecting to see pictures of different kinds of food that could be suggestions and the nutrition that it will bring to the brain and to the body. Then you talked a lot about the fact that research has been done. As you began to advance in your presentation, I thought that this would have been a presentation that lent itself to doing quite some research, which I thought you would have given to us yourself, rather than saying there's a lot that has been done on it and we could search it out. That's my thinking. Again, I want to say this with every sense of cautiousness and courtesy. I know this is very sensitive to you, but I thought if you shared that story of your life, how you lived with it for 4 years, would have been more convincing, because you'll be telling us that which you've gone through. I often say that the message makes more sense when the speaker has a personal experience of what he's talking about. But then you began to give us personal experience of how you took action, you bought a book, and then you closed on a high with a tone of finality. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Well done, Abby. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Oladele. Moving right along, I would like to request that Suzanne takes the screen and provides us with her evaluation of Tina's speech on togetherness. Please welcome to the screen, Suzanne.
Thank you. Thank you, Samir, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you, Tina, for a lovely speech. So emotional. It was wonderful. Thank you for sharing that very beautiful mentoring moment that you told us. I was thinking your title was called Togetherness. In fact, it could have been Lessons Learned the Hard Way, because having a mother as a mentor with your firstborn, not easy. I can empathize. I really can. So I thought that the speech started with a vertical takeoff. You were straight in the story, definitely. And you gave us a lovely quote from Vera Nazarian, which really gave us immediately a feel that we were with you in the story and we were there with you and your mentor. So it was a wonderful start, and the structure was there. You mentioned 2 things, and the surprise element as well. I mean, you really had us listening, because we weren't expecting your mentor to be your mother. So a surprise element, and I can imagine the tough love that she gave in those first 6 weeks. An incredible hard lesson to learn, but an amazing experience, one that you gave to us all by telling us the story. Your advice was very interesting. Listen, value the priceless experience of improving knowledge, however small that knowledge may be. I found your advice very, very useful. So you've obviously learned from your mentor, that's for sure. And other advice that you gave in the speech: learn, watch, and remember the little you know. Very, very useful, especially at the end of the speech, you gave us that advice. Can't see the timer. Should have had the timer. Where's the timer? Can't see the timer. Oh, thank you. And what I found interesting in your speech as well was the fact that mentors learn just as much as the protégés. I think that is so true. So thank you, Tina. A wonderful experience listening to your speech, and I'm very happy to be your evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next, let's move on to Table Topics Evaluations. I'd like to welcome to the screen our Table Topics Evaluator, Ken Nason.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, or Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we had interesting questions today. Our first speaker, Julie. Julie had the challenge to tell us about a lesson she learned from a health issue and how she plans her future around that subject. I liked how Julie launched straight into that question, as if she had that question beforehand to prepare her response. She started off telling us a personal story she sent a few weeks ago. That signal got me ready and engaged to hear what story Julie had to tell. I loved how she went through sharing something I would consider not the best scenario, but Julie veiled it and told it in a way, presented it in a way that diminished the impact. And I love the humor she brought in throughout the speech, how she didn't get the chance to choose her ancestors when she was told this could be something her ancestors left her as a present. So throughout her speech, the great humor came through, including how she devised another blog experience writing on diabetes too. So the storytelling and the great humor Julie infused in that speech are the great commendations for her. In terms of what to point out to Julie, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I couldn't think of anything to say rather than please keep writing some more. Our second speaker, Henrik, with the question, something in the past that had an unexpected result. Again, Henrik jumped into that question with a personal story, 28th of September, 2006. That got me expectant. What are we hearing again? And I loved how he went through that personal story with great details, listing out the items he was looking for, the girlfriend, the job, and political influence, and then coming back to answer the question in the first place, that getting the political influence that appeared to elude him initially was the unexpected result he was looking for. So I love the personal story, the clarity of listing. One recommendation for Henrik, I would encourage Henrik to slow down just a touch. On a couple of occasions, I really strained to understand. So just slow down a touch, recognizing this is a community of diverse nationalities and speakers. Otherwise, great speech. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
I don't want to leave Ken standing alone without an evaluation, and I wonder if I could ask Nick to provide him with some feedback on his table topic. Nick, would you be willing to take that up?
Yes, I'm very happy to do that. When Ken was asked the question, what have you learned? And he started talking about, well, I was allocated a mentor through Toastmasters. And then I waited 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. And I'm saying, call him. And one of the things that we don't get told when we join Toastmasters, that it's a speaking and leadership club. Get on with it. There's the 4 words that we need to be told. Get on with it. And as I was really urging him to get on with that. And in terms of his speech, yes, absolutely, he brought it round. He actually said, well, when I spoke to him and when we discussed things, and as a matter of fact, he said, yes, this was a test. So what he taught us, and what he taught me, perhaps, is, yes, get on with it. And that's the biggest thing I can take away from Ken's speech. And I thought he did very well, considering he knew he was going to be the evaluator as well. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nick. Just in time, sharing your experience and feedback so that we all get to grow. Really appreciate it. Next up, let's give an opportunity for Willie to grow. So Willie, would you come to the screen, come off mute, and give us your feedback on how we did with our ahs and ums, and any feedback you might have on our video. Thank you, Willie.
I guess today I detected a lot of pause failure. Okay. Let me go to the Toastmaster of the day first. Summer. You have 4 R, you have 4 you know, and so a total of 10 postulate. And Harry, you have 1 soul, 1 half, and 2 it is as 4. Andrew, you have 1 you have 1 well, that's a total of 2. Julie, you have 2 Ken, you have 1 n. Matthew, you have 2 n. Nick, you have 1 Suzanne, you have 1 Tina, you have 2 r and 1 Okay. As for the video, okay, the following person have uncontrolled gesture. Harry, Hendrik, Ode have uncontrolled gesture that is distracted. So try to use, if your gesture is not needed, just do it below the screen. And where Ken body language also was not visible when speaking. So if you want to face any gesture, do it in front of the camera. So it will be so that he can raise a point when he raises his hand. But he raised below the camera, that is a bit distracted. And the TME should remember, anyone of us will still remember to use a poem. Point, the purpose, the objective, the project, the objective, speech title, and the person, and the speaker. I think we all forget about this poem where we introduce a speaker as TME. Over back to you, Summer.
Thank you, Willie, for a very thorough evaluation. Really appreciate it. Here we grow. Next up, let's have our grammarian to share her experience of our grammar here.
Thank you, Steve. And I apologize that I'm sitting in the dark, but my light started going flicker, 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 and I think it would have driven you all crazy if I'd left it on. So if you can't see me, I'm sorry, but I am here. I love the way that Samir jumped straight in and used the word experience almost immediately. And Tina, in her speech, experience was what it was all about, and she used the word 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I like the way Ken said, don't expect everything to be handed to you on a plate. I think that's something we all have to remember. Julie used the word experience, and Lorraine used the word experience twice in the chat, I believe. And I've really enjoyed being back with you, but I have another meeting to go to, which is very important, to sign over some papers with a lawyer, which I've been waiting to do for a long time. So I am going to have to leave you right now, and I will be back again. Now that the meetings are at 7:30, I will definitely be at both ends of the time. See you later.
Thank you, Jeannie.
I
appreciate your experience. I'm wondering how many others have to go to other meetings. Let's try and get to the end of this one ourselves for a smooth transition. Next up, to tell us on how we've been doing with time, please welcome to the screen, Belinda Kent.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Harvey, your speech was 6 minutes, 38 seconds. Tina, 6 minutes, 59 seconds. Samir, for the educational, 4 minutes and 50 seconds, a little bit short. Oladeli, for your evaluation, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Suzanne, 2 minutes, 28 seconds. Nick, your evaluation for table topics was 4 minutes, 49 seconds, and I added in the one you did for Ken. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Did we swap Ken for the table topics evaluation?
Ken did do the table topics evaluation, but he also did a table topic speech, so Nick evaluated that one.
All right. Table topic speakers. Ken, 1 minute, 44 seconds. Julie, 2 minutes, 4 seconds. Henrik, 1 minute, 35 seconds. Willie, your evaluation was 2 minutes, 26 seconds. Jeannie's Jeannie's for report on language was 1 minute 5 seconds, and my report on timing 1 minute 20 seconds. Mr. Toastmaster.
Well done, Belinda. I always wondered who times the timer, but it seems you did well with that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, let's all grow. We've gotten feedback on how we've done with time, with grammar, with counting, with video. Let's find out how we've all done in general. Welcome to the screen, our very own general evaluator, Lorraine Taylor.
Thank you, Samir, Toastmaster of the Day, to welcome me here. It's a pleasure to be giving you some value as we, as a club, try to meet our vision, which is to be the global leaders in online communication, leadership, and excellence. So that's my purpose, is to continue to help us to raise the bar. Now this, my general evaluation started a couple days ago when I got a message from Samir as Toastmaster of the Day in a WhatsApp asking me to check with my evaluation team to make sure they were ready to go and that I had a good team with me. And that's what the Toastmaster role is all about. And we all need to raise the bar on that. The Toastmaster needs to be working days in advance and delegating the evaluation to the general evaluation, so we do what we try to do as a team. Now, there were 3 things in this meeting that I really found as very positive. There was great flow, and that had to do with number 2, our teamwork. And I believe we've all stepped up to excellence. And if we go back a few meetings to our business meeting, there was concern in this club that our speeches were not up to par, that our teamwork was not up to par. We were not getting people to the meetings. I think Nick's initiation of getting that WhatsApp growing, and what's happening with Marty with education, getting people signed up for Toastmaster of the Day, people taking on those roles, has been an absolute fantastic improvement in what we're seeing, and we are meeting our vision. Samir did a great job of creating a team feeling and helping out, for example, delegating, working through problems. Sergeant at Arms, we were able to get that introduction to Teresa through WhatsApp. Fantastic that we've got that going. Oladeli, excellent introduction as president to the meeting, very personable and very making that human-to-human contact is what we need in the digital world, and especially for any guests coming in. For Mary, we had all good introductions from our evaluations. Now I want to make a point on my general evaluation for this, for all general evaluators. What I have found missing in the general evaluation is one of the most essential things is the general evaluator needs to evaluate the speech evaluators. The best evaluators, the best clubs have the best evaluators, and that's not happening. They comment often on the speeches, but that's already been commented on. Your job is to comment on the speech evaluators. So that's where I'm going to start here. And my job is to help us to be better evaluators. So I asked Oladeli and Suzanne, what do you want me to be looking at? And they both told me. Now, Oladeli did a great job with his CRC, asked me to watch that. Very good explanation on being, giving his commendations, scratching of the head. He was very detailed in that. Now, for Oladeli, you wanted me to look at CRC. You gave a C, and then you gave the recommendations. You ran out of time, so we didn't get the commendation on that. And I really think that that would be more powerful. So how to do that? Don't give such a large commendation section at the beginning. Maybe put it content, then give a recommendation, and then commendation on delivery. And really balance that out and also include that summary. But very positive, very effective, and very value-added evaluation. Suzanne asked me to let me go back to Oladeli. He asked me also to look at his hands. And what they were doing, he was using a one hand in the evaluation. He wasn't doing two. Very effective. One hand. Slow it down a little, Oladeli, because of the any internet issues. Suzanne asked me to evaluate hers on as if she was in an evaluation contest, so I did. Now, she gave specific words that engaged me, that would engage me as a judge in evaluation contest. She said it was a vertical takeoff, love it. Then she said immediately. And then she said, however, Suzanne, I would have liked you to have given more emphasis to this. You were talking about start, structure, surprise. Really use those and push those, because that was fantastic. Now you did a great job both on the being very positive and helpful in your recommendations, very sympathetic about that, very analytical. But your recommendations, I think, could have been more specific. And again, you ran out of time, so you didn't do a great summation. 15 points lost right there. But altogether, a great one. Now, let me move on to our other evaluators, our table topics evaluator. Well done, Ken. Very good job, very detailed of giving both commendations and recommendations. We do have a problem in this club with the table topics evaluator perhaps being too expansive in the evaluation. It must be short. One commendation, one recommendation would be great. Thanks, Nick, for also stepping in there, but very good on that. Willie, thank you so much as a guest to our club. I know you are starting and spearheading that new online club that's chartering in Singapore this month. We would love to support you in that. Thanks for taking the role and doing such a great job. And also in your introduction, you gave us a list of words, and I love that you found 10 from our Toastmaster, because I've been sitting and listening to our person, and most people are saying, oh, everybody's fine. And we need someone like you in our club going, no, it's not fine. Our Toastmaster did it 10 times. Good ears, and well done for that. Jeannie, great grammarian. Especially loved how she shared the screen of the word. She shared her screen, would have liked it a little bit better, but timer, fantastic. We were running out of time, and you did a great job of doing that. I know I'm running out of time, but I will just sum up with our Samir. You did a fantastic job as Toastmaster of the day. Great segues, great sharing, fantastic ghost educational. And I believe today we had great flow, great teamwork. We stepped up to excellence. Our vision is we are global leaders in an online communication and leadership excellence. And with that, I'm going to pass that over to you, Samir.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. That's general evaluation par excellence. We get a great experience and we get to continue to grow. Here we grow. I agree with some of the comments in the chat. I think in order for us to continue to take advantage of in-depth general evaluations, we need more than 5 minutes on the clock for that. So I'd put it out to the education team to consider adjusting our templates accordingly so we can get a fuller and deeper general evaluation. This is one to share and go back to review the video for this one, because there's gold in there for all of us to glean. One of the key takeaways that I got, and I just want to enhance, is the teamwork. You know, behind the scenes, Nick has been guiding me with changes that are happening across the board. So I knew Ken was going to be leaving and that Nick was going to be ready to step in if needed. And it just helped me to kind of adjust how I was emceeing to keep Ken here so that he could get feedback and provide feedback as well. So just little bits and pieces of teamwork there going on behind the scenes. You know, it's kind of like that smooth water and the duck swimming across it, where underneath there's all this paddling going on and a lot of busy activity. So teamwork does make the dream work. That's John Maxwell, one of my favorite quotes. Continue to learn from that. I'm gonna have to come to an end now. as your MC and Toastmaster of the meeting. It has been an enjoyable experience for me. I hope it has been a learning experience for you. With that, to see what we've got coming up forward, for those who are on Monday, I don't think you're as far as the next week. So let's find out from Marty what's next in our forward planning. Thank you, Marty.
Thank you. In just a moment, I'll share my screen to encourage those of you who are able to attend the Eastern Hemisphere time zone. As we've stated, we have 4 meetings a month, and the first and third is maybe a little more suited for the Western Hemisphere. Now, starting with our meeting next week, let me find my share button here. All right, this is our meeting for November 10th. It also follows the November theme of visibility, and the theme meeting for November 10th is Nobody Asked Me But. And I have plugged in Oladelli as the Toastmaster, but I haven't seen that he has confirmed that assignment yet. Marta has accepted a role as, or needs to accept a role as speaker. Raphael, one of our new members, is listed as a speaker. We do have a room for a third speaker, and many of our roles are also available. So I am open for suggestions. And Belinda, I know you are the district director for your district. So I will be very gentle with you and just thrilled that you are here today. Is it even possible for you to make those meetings? I know it's in the middle of the night for me, so it's probably in the middle of the night for you too, right?
Yeah, the middle of the night meetings are next to impossible right now.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
So I am going to try and make every other week and make it during the day meetings.
Well, you know, that leaves me the option of, let's see here, moving this so that I can get your name on the meeting for the coming meeting. Where is it here? Because we love your experience, love having you join us. And the meeting that you might be able to help in a role is scheduled for November 17th. And again, we have plenty of time and opportunity. So
I would like to be the table topics evaluator.
Yes, ma'am. All righty.
And we need some speakers as well. There's nobody signed up for speakers or evaluators.
Correct.
Marty?
That's 2 weeks. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, some weeks back, I actually requested a speech for that, for the 17th. So
Okay.
I am on the list there.
All right, let's plug in then. Nick, right there. Okay, you are in, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. And
Marty, I've got
Suzanne,
a speech request in for next week as well, the East Coast meeting.
just a moment. We'll go there and put you in. Third speaker, Samir. Yes, indeed. Okay. So we go back to our Eastern Hemisphere and look for Oladelli. Are you able to be our master that meeting?
Madam Vice President Education, allow me to confirm during the week. As I speak with you, I know I have a trip on that day, and I wouldn't want to give a word and have my flight clashed with it. But between now and Tuesday, I should be able to confirm that.
Excellent, excellent. All righty. And I'm going to, I apologize is a little more involved than we thought it would be, but we've learned a little bit, Samir and I, about the Keymaster and what did you find out about the Keymaster? Is that something that, please help me out here, so I better understand.
Marty, I'm conscious we're recording. Do you want to save this
too.
after the meeting?
I think so. I agree. Because I'd sure love to hear about our guests and how they've enjoyed the meeting or any suggestions they might have for us. So I will defer to the forward planning until we have completed our meeting and requested feedback from our guests. And I'll leave that to either our Toastmaster or our club president to serve that, pose those questions.
Let me hand control back to our president. Thank you for the forward planning segment, Marty. And with that, for guest feedback, club announcements, and closure of the meeting, please welcome to the screen our president, the quintessential polymath, Oladele Olunike.
Thank you very much, Samir. May I ask if we enjoy the coordination of the Toastmaster of the day for today? Samir, can you just show by a raise of hand if you enjoy Samir's coordination of the meeting? Please let's give him a round of applause for a beautiful job well done. Well done, Samir. We appreciate you and thank you for all you do for our club. They do not go unnoticed. I'd like to welcome all our guests for today. Some of them have visited us before, but for the purpose of those who may be meeting you for the first time, I'd like to recognize Jody from Germany, Willie from Singapore, and that's it. So, Jody, you'd like to let us know who you are? I met you last week, but I know quite a number of our fellow members were not there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back again. I am Jody. I am from the United States, but I'm currently living in Germany. And I am on the search for a Toastmasters club to join. There is not a brick and mortar school near, or brick and mortar club near me. So I'm then trying to find an online option to join. And I must say, I think this club has so much energy. It is just fun to be a part of it and fun to see everyone's speeches and evaluations. It's a great club.
Thank you, Jody. Willie, let's hear from you all the way from Singapore. Willie, you need to unmute yourself.
How about now? Can you hear me?
That's right. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. It's really fun in this cup where we have all day, we have Nick, we have Martha on this cup. And today, I really saw most people as compared to the last meeting last week. As I have mentioned to Nick before, I'm planning to join this club, but that will take a few more months to come by. So you got a new member in the coming months, maybe by January.
Thank you, Willie, for that. Thank you, Willie. I'm sure that our very proactive treasurer will reach you at the time that is due, that is Lorraine. And also Martha, who is our Vice President membership, will reach you. Thank you for joining us. I want to thank all of our members of the executive committee for the good work you do to make every meeting run as if it is so easy. And I want to thank all of our role players for playing your respective roles for today. And for those who stepped up when it mattered most. Recognize and appreciate all that you do for our club. As we look forward to doing this again next Sunday, if there is no question or clarification, I'll gavel the meeting out, but we have an after party. There's conviviality, so please don't be in a hurry to run away if you don't need to. And of course, the Vice President Education will be wrapping up on our forward planning, should there be anything to tidy up after the meeting. Fellow Firebirds, I thought it's been another enlightening, edutaining, and a very exhilarating meeting. Let us do this again next Sunday. Remember, the time will be a morning meeting, 8:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Check your time zone and calibrate wherever you are today.
Hey, we haven't heard from Roberto.
Oh, Roberto, thank you, Harvey, for calling my attention to that. Roberto, please let us hear your voice for today, all the way from Italy. Roberto, you need to unmute yourself. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Harvey, for suggesting this opportunity. And thanks for listening to me. That's all.
Thank you for your bouquet of Thanksgiving, Roberto. Fellow Firebirds, it's been a lovely time. I believe that we all have a unanimous agreement on that. Let us do this again next Sunday. See you then.